Turn 1. I'm Sean Fitz, bringing you live coverage here tonight for the season finale of the Downforce Racing Series right here on Turn 1. It's been a good season with this group, but all good things must eventually come to an end in this season. They're going to award a champion here tonight. Two contenders are going to be battling it out right now, though. Ryan Patty going to be the star of the show. He's going to start out in the pole right now, and he is just 19 points back off of Vinny Masteas, who is going to be your points leader coming into tonight. Kevin Gunther's going to start outside row number 1. Then it's Masteas right behind Ryan Patty for third. And then Caden Henry Oaks for fourth. Dave Hunt is going to round out the top 5 as they get rolling off of pit road. Under the lights here at Phoenix. It's going to be a good one. We appreciate everybody for tuning in. John Zerke, Mike Whitaker, Bob Lacavera, Thomas Taylor, and Keith Hanlon, your top 10. Then it's Rondell and Hanover Vist rounding out the 12-car field here tonight at Phoenix. Again, under the lights, and we're ready to roll for one more time around for the Downforce Racing Series. Yeah, right here on Turn 1. Pace car is going to head down pit road. You're going to see this group maintain that pit pace here all the way down this long backstretch and off into 3 and 4. It has been a good long season here. The DRS crew. We've seen some exciting racing on track. And ultimately, we're going to bring this season to a close here in just about an hour and a half's time. Ryan Patty gets some rolling, and the green flag is out. We're underway. Championship racing at Phoenix. They get it all straightened up as they come down the backstretch for the first time. Masteas is able to get by Kevin Gunther in the early run here. Ryan Patty, though, starting to set sail a little early as they complete lap number 1 by the big lit-up cactus under the lights here in the desert. Masteas just needs to have a consistent top 3 night. He needs to have a solid run up here, and he could certainly walk away with the championship without a whole lot of stress. He does not need to win the race. Continue to watch that story as the night progresses. Meanwhile, we look a little further back. That's just a race within the race. They're getting sporty back here. That's John Zerke, Dave Hunt. Hunt's going to dive down on the inside as they move through 1 and 2 all the way down this backstretch here. Everybody trying to get as much as they possibly can off the quarter there, too. That's Zerke going to look to the inside of Caden Henry Oaks on corner entry, but Oaks is going to late break it through. They're going to get that battle settled out as everybody takes a deep dive to the dog leg. That is not out of bounds here at Phoenix. We'll see that happen quite a bit tonight. A bunch of drivers will take it pretty deep down into that dog leg there in front of the start-finish line. A lot of drivers going to look to gain a little bit of speed, momentum, and track position through that method. Track positions all Ryan Patty's right now. Just the last time by, ran a 36.35, setting the fastest pace of the night so far. Vinny Masteas sitting right behind him, about half a second back. A little bit of back and forth here. The John Zerke, this is Caden Henry Oaks and Dave Hunt. They have continued to jockey around that 4th, 5th, 6th place position. With Oaks sitting in 4th and looking to settle away just a little, or to drive away just a little bit here. Maintain that top 5. Bob Lacavera right now running 8th, in that 8th place spot. Bob in that 5 car was the first person who reached out about the DRS crew. They made some incredible accommodations to break Turn 1 on. This race last season ran on Thursday nights typically, and they changed their entire Cup and ARCA schedules just so that we could squeeze them in on Turn 1. We hope he's enjoyed the coverage, and we thank him for being a good partner here, the Turn 1 crew. Vinny Masteas still settled into that second spot, but Ryan Patty has actually started to drive away just a little bit. Patty was not fastest in practice, but maybe leaving a little bit on the board because he had a dominant qualifying effort, easily in the top spot. I expected him that first lap through after qualifying. Patty sat, oh goodness, I think it was 6th or 7th, but that second lap turned it up immensely, fighting the pole tonight here in Phoenix. Masteus was able to brighten that third place starting spot. But again, this is a story of a fantastic season for the 70 car. A lot of success for Masteus, and certainly has an opportunity to bring home that championship here tonight if all things go according to plan. Everybody single filed up out here in Kansas. Let's take this opportunity. Let's ride on board with the 53 of Dave Hunt as he makes a lap or two under the lights here in the desert. Riding on board here with Caden Henry Oaks, looking out the back bumper. That's John Zerke. Dave Hunt continue to battle for that 5th place spot. Oaks is settled into 4th here. A very interesting view as they work lap number 14 of 140 here. We saw those drivers diving down, a little bit of sparks flying off the back of the car as they take that transition down to the bottom of the dog leg and contending with the car handling there. Many of these drivers able to hang on to it just fine, but over a length of time and depending on how hard it is on the car there, you can see some handling characteristics change, just depending on how much you dive down there and upset that car. It could also be a place you can lose it, especially in some traffic. We've seen that before. But tonight, so far, everybody free and clear. And Patty out front. Again, 9/10 of a second, has that car on cruise control. Dave Hunt is on the inside of John Zerke. These two have been very racy since the start of the race, since the green flag. With Hunt going all the way down that bottom of that dog leg, he has a really strong 3 and 4. And he starts to build that run right here, driving right into the tire tracks of Zerke. Get a little bit of momentum, a little bit of a run here, but he has a great corner entry right down to that yellow line, and that gets him pretty close. We'll see him every other lap or so start putting the nose underneath Zerke here. But right now, your top, or that Zerke's going to maintain that top 5 spot. Looking back a little further, this is Mike Whitaker and Keith Hanlon. Keith now starting to look to the inside of Whitaker, driving it down to a very similar line as Dave Hunt has right there down to the bottom, yellow line. Both these drivers, both Whitaker and Hanlon, starting to catch the back of Dave Hunt just a little bit. As Hanlon gets clear of Whitaker, that's going to move him up to that 7th place position. But all eyes on this fight for the championship right here. And to be honest with you, These two have had a tough battle for the last couple races, both in wins at the tracks and also just getting into each other a little bit, maybe a little bit of head game play. I know there's not been any love lost between the two. We saw, I don't know, probably about 3 weeks ago or so, maybe even a little longer, these two make contact on track, and ultimately Vinny Masteas being wiped out towards the end of that, but nonetheless, everybody kept going, nonetheless, they wrapped up that race, and it's been relatively clean for the last 3 weeks or so. And it's all building up to this. Masteas probably would have liked to have come in tonight with a little bit of a better lead. Only 19 points on the championship for that driver. And Ryan Patty can certainly be within striking distance here. He showed a lot of pace, a lot of front row pace, in winning a couple of these races over the last few weeks. And can really hold his own out front. It really takes a certain type of individual. We actually talked about it last night with Justin Fuller, the driver of the 51 for the Monday night Cook's Landscape Group Cup Series right here on Turn 1. He mentioned how he hates the car, but he's got something figured out. He knows how to make it go fast. And Ryan Patty looks very similar to the Fuller there, able to just consistently make laps after lap after lap. And seems to have a really good head around this Cup car right now in the iRacing service. Hunt is now settled in behind John Zerke. Zerke now actually starting to chew into Caden Henry Oaks' spot here for that 4th place run. Meanwhile, we've got a car coming down pit road. That's Rondell. He's going to hit pit road for the first time tonight. That's a little early, I would say. These drivers have got 23 laps of green flag action on the tires. No tire limit for this group. They ultimately can come down as much as they possibly want, but from a fuel mileage standpoint, I think they could go roughly probably about 50 laps here tonight at Phoenix at pace. That can make for an interesting strategy as we move forward here tonight. And taking a look, that's Keith Hanlon. He's actually going to squeeze by Dave Hunt, move Hunt back to 7th, take that 6th spot away. As we see Zerke continue to chew into that lead, that gap out front here. It's down to 6/10 of a second under Caden Henry Oaks. We'll continue to follow that story. We're going to ride on board with Kevin Gunther having a quiet night sitting in that 3rd place spot. As we step aside for just a moment, riding on board with Gunther, you're watching Turn 1. So far, quiet night in the books. The lap 31 of 140 here for the Downforce Racing Season Series finale on turn 1. Ryan Patty leads. Vinny Masteas back about 2 seconds off the rear of Ryan Patty. Then it's Kevin Gunther, Caden Henry Oaks. John Zerke, your top 5. Keith Hanlon, Mike Whitaker, Bob LaCavera, Thomas Taylor, and Hanover Fist in your top 10. Let's really take a quick look here. A little bit of an incident for Hanover Fist. He's actually sitting now back out on track in 10th, but maybe a little bit of a moment here for the 69. We saw the Masteas when we were riding on board, and oh, yeah, Fist just gets a little sideways there, a little bit more throttle than he needed to get there on quarter exit. Spins out right in that dog leg, able to not make contact with anything. And keep it moving here. And I show Fist actually just putting Dave Hunt a lap down. Hunt just came down pit road here just a few laps ago, and you're going to see him now work his way around Vinny Masteas. Those lap times are really starting to fade. Masteas, for instance, his last lap, or his best lap rather, 26:41. Last time by was over 27:50 plus, running at almost identical lap times to our leader, but over a 30-lap run. These tires are starting to wear almost over a second at this rate. That is certainly something to think about. And again, from a fuel mileage perspective, I suspect these drivers are going to be free and good to go at least till lap 55, lap 60, but we're closing in here. That's lap number 36 Ryan Patty just took as Dave Hunt continues to run him down. So that makes 104 to go. They're going to have to stop at least twice tonight. And I think that's going to be putting a stretch on it as Dave Hunt drives around Ryan Patty. Dave Hunt just put together the fastest lap of the night across the entire group at 26:33, an impressive run. Hunt's multiple laps down here, but able to drive around and get at least one back there. As Patty continues to dip, dive, dodge through some lap traffic. That was Bob LaCavera. He just put a lap down for the first time tonight. Ultimately, Ryan Patty, he's got some pace. So far, has led them all here tonight at Phoenix. John Zerke's going to work his way around again. That's lap traffic and able to do it fairly gracefully. He's actually taking a little bit of a higher line through that tri-oval. Keith Hanlon trying to run him down. That would be for 5th spot. As we see Bob LaCavera, he's going to hit pit road for the first time tonight. We're going to continue to carry some in-car cameras here tonight. Keith Hanlon sitting 6th. Let's ride on board with him as he makes laps here under the lights at Phoenix. under caution here for the first time tonight. Ryan Patty looks like he may have been involved. I'm not 100% sure, but he certainly looks like he has fallen down a running order. Let's take a look. That is definitely not an incident there. No, I think that is just iRacing not playing nicely, but ultimately, let's take a look at the running order. A lot of these drivers electing to come down, but one of them was not Vinny Masteas. He's going to stay out and recoup the lead here. I think he's gone around again and had the opportunity to come down and elected to stay out while everybody else is going to come off pit road. Kevin Gunther, Caden Henry Oaks, John Zerke. Keith Hanlon's also going to come off, but Ryan Patty in the box still. Maybe something going on there. Right side's going on that car. Ultimately, not 100% sure what may have happened here. Actually, let me take one more look. I may have found where we have saw Ryan Patty have some issues. Down the backstretch he goes. Everything's fine there until he gets down to the bottom of the corner, and he just gets too far down on that flat. That car spins out. He's able to lock it down, very similar to hand over fist. No damage done to the 30, but that's going to bring that caution out. And trouble for our pole sitter and leader of the lap, all laps so far. He has fallen back to 7th as they get re-racked and ready to go here tonight. Under the lights at Phoenix, lap 45 of 140, 95 to go. Ryan Patty's going to start back towards the rear of the field. Doesn't have a whole lot of drive ahead he needs to do here, but ultimately needs to do it cleanly and safely. And Vinny Masteas, a driver who elected to stay out. Vinny didn't ever look like he ever really pushed the issue. It was a tire conservation playing a factor here. Out front on those older tires, green flag back out. He gets a rolling at Phoenix. We're going to pay close attention. Ryan Patty goes deep down to the dog leg. He's going to look underneath. That's Hanlon and John Zerke as they drive off through the corner. And so far, free and clear. It's getting racy right here in front of him. That's Caden Henry Oaks and Kevin Gunther were side by side. Oaks is going to shut the door on Gunther. Gunther goes down to the deep on the inside. Look to try to gain some momentum. He did. That was a huge gain for Gunther as he's able to get to the inside of Oaks. Oaks really drives off on the outside of the corner. Vinny Masteas is in trouble. 3 wide for the lead. Masteas paying for the price of not coming down pit road. This is 100% a tire issue. And Masteas, he's going to fall way off the pace. And Kevin Gunther going to lead that lap. Ryan Patty, though, on the move. See Jeff Hanlon taking out pretty wide there. Patty's going to drive pretty deep into the corner. Gunther's going to hold him off. Almost called contact there with the 30 and the 31. They were able to stay off of one another. Gunther going to continue to lead with Ryan Patty looking underneath him as they roll through 1 and 2. Gunther just put up the fastest lap of the night at 26:32, trying to hold off Ryan Patty. How long do you do this before you start really scrubbing those tires in? Now it looks like John Zerke just put together a fast lap of 26:31. Meanwhile, Vinny Masteas, he has fallen all the way back to 7th. This could be a disastrous outcome for the 70 car if this doesn't end up correcting itself. Ultimately, he's not come down pit road. He's got the same fuel. Everybody else is good on fuel for probably until lap 120 or so. He is going to have to come down in the next 15 to 20. New tires and all, maybe trying to flip some strategy. We'll have to continue following that, but he has lost a ton of time to this front pack, all led by Kevin Gunther right now here on lap 51. Hey, Ron, I see you over on YouTube. Thanks for tuning in, man, and I completely understand. You don't want to be the guy that that causes some issues there, right? So I totally get why you elected to do what you did. Don't blame me whatsoever. Kevin Gunther out front here, just minding his own P's and Q's. And driving the wheels off that 31, but how much of this Ryan Patty is just sitting back and waiting for it to come to him. We saw him put together a dominant run here early, both on time and really just consistency. And we know how sensitive these cars are to aero, how much that is a factor. Maybe that's playing a part of it here, but we've seen some passes on track, some pretty decent passes at that. As we look through the remainder of the field, we'll continue to talk about that lead. Vinny Masteas, this is going to be the talk of the town right now. He is sitting 8 seconds back almost off of Kevin Gunther, continuing to fall. Again, Masteas electing to stay out under the only caution so far here tonight. And that may be a pretty big factor in determining who's going to bring home the championship this evening. Meanwhile, what happened to Ryan Patty? He lost, not only he lost time, but he lost a spot. Ryan Patty's falling back to behind Caden Henry Oaks. Oaks is going to take that second spot away here. Under the lights at Phoenix for championship racing here tonight for the DRS crew. This is the season finale tonight. And everybody's got an opportunity to shine, maybe bring home a victory before it's all said and done. Patty would love to collect another one, but he has found some challenges in the last 15, 20 laps. We saw him get loose coming out of turn 4, sit it sideways, bring out the caution. That car being a little bit of a handful, especially on these longer runs, but you just got to be talking about being consistent. You just got to put the car in the exact same spot every time. Hang on for the ride. Patty's going to look back now underneath Caden Henry Oaks. It's side by side as they move out of turn 2. Patty's not able to open up the wheel as much as he would like. He's going to be pinned there underneath Oaks. Oaks is going to have the drive off, but Patty's going to dive it deep down in the tri-oval here, right there past that dog leg, or right there past the start-finish line, into the dog leg. And that's going to give him just enough to squeeze out front of Caden Henry Oaks. Oaks is going to take the high line out of 2. Not really going to have the momentum in P2 now. Whoa, maybe a little bit of a big, not maybe, that was 100% wall contact out of the 30 of Patty there on that right side. He actually lost time. Ryan Patty maybe pushing that car a little hard here. We approach halfway tonight for this championship battle here in Phoenix for the Downforce Racing Series. We look back here, our points leader at the moment, Vinny Masteas, sitting right now 10 plus seconds on back, and I just don't understand this call from the 70. He's going to have to come down pit road here in the next 10, 15 laps at the most, take his first service of the night. But ultimately, what is that going to mean? I don't know how he recovers from that outside of hopefully some cautions falling his way. We'll talk about what that looks like as we continue to run through the race. And there you have it, another caution coming out. Lap 61 here. That, I believe, is a stage break as they get checked up behind the pace cars. Everybody goes to almost a dead stop. That could have been a little disastrous. This is the break Masteas needed, though. He's going to have a chance to come down pit road and take forward fuel right along with everybody else as they come down this lit up pit road. We're going to step aside. We'll talk about how the running order is going to look once they get done. You're watching Turn 1. little bit of pit strategy at play here. Mike Whitaker elected to stay out after it was all said and done. Keith Hanlon may have been a 2-tire stop and a splash of gas. Everybody else, Caden Henry Oaks, Ryan Patty, Vinny Macias, they're back connected with one another here. Back almost exactly how they started. Said one another at the beginning of the race. We're back, green flag racing here at Phoenix. Patty takes to the inside, makes one big move there and passes 4 as they work through the dog leg. He's going to get clear of Caden Henry Oaks here to take that top spot away. Now Macias back there. He's going to have to find a spot to just ride here. Now he's on the same sequence as everybody. Patty out front. Oaks and Hanlon. Single file there, but Vinny Macias, he's in a decent spot. He came into the race here 19 points to the good on the championship. Doesn't need to have a perfect night here, just needs to be consistent. A solid top 5 finish. Don't let the stages get too far away from him, as Ryan Patty just put up the fastest lap of the night. That's a 26.22 out of that driver. Pretty quick lap time out of him. Aiden Henry Oaks, Keith Hanlon, Vinny Macias, and John Zerke, your top 5. Yeah, Ron, the shifting here looks really different. You almost carry a lot of RPM, but instead of shifting in some places, we've seen him do it a couple different ways here. So when I've been running on board, and then they get down that longer backstretch there and into 5th. But either way, right? It's lessons learned. It's all about taking the opportunities to gain knowledge, right? And sometimes you know when it's time to park or to sit it out, and you made the right call. And it's been fun watching your race. We appreciate you being a viewer here on turn 1. And I certainly wouldn't shy you away from ever watching anything else or staying connected with us. We certainly enjoyed your presence around. Getting a little dicey back here. That's right behind Vinny Macias. That's John Zerke, Kevin Gunther. All right here. Actually, I take that back. Is Gunther sitting? No. What happened to Kevin here? Yeah, no, that is Kevin. And a little bit of puff out of the side of the car. So I don't think that's actually real. I don't think they're making that contact into the wall. I think that's just a little bit of net code in the way the replay is playing out. Either way, they're side by side as they come across the stripe. Zerke's looking to the inside of Macias. Again, the 70 just needs to have a clean night. No reason to push the issue super hard here. And you see Zerke now starting to challenge on the inside. Macias is going to have a strong run here. Oh, and Zerke gets that car a little too much will into it. He's going to lose some time. Here comes Kevin Gunther to the outside as they roll through 3 and 4. Meanwhile, out front, Ryan Patty continued to be the star of the show. Led a bunch of laps here early. Had a little bit of a misstep coming out of 4 around lap 45 or so, lap 50 actually. I think Caden Henry Oaks P2. And then it's Keith Hanlon having a decent run. He's up 8 spots on the night. So currently sitting 3rd. And then Macias is able to hang on to that 4th place spot. Then it's Zerke and Gunther side by side as they come down that sweeping front stretch. Zerke closes in tight to the bumper. Macias is actually closed into Hanlon as well. It is getting racy up here for this third, fourth, fifth, sixth spot. Macias now looking to the inside of Hanlon as they roll through 1 and 2. Gunther and Zerke are going to battle it out. I think it's only fitting towards the end of the end of the season here that you got a championship contender here battling a tight fight for all the same 4 spots and areas of real estate on the track. Macias is able to break away. He's going to move into that 3rd place spot. Keith Hanlon's going to fall to 4th. Now Kevin Gunther is going to look to the inside. It's going to be a drag race off of turn 2. But Hanlon's going to be able to hold that spot. Speaking of, he's actually going to look back underneath Macias. Macias, again, doesn't need to press the issue here. Doesn't need to be super aggressive or dominant. Just needs to have a clean finish, be there at the very end. Hanlon now feeling the pressure. Here comes Gunther again to the inside. Not able to get alongside down the backstretch, but going to have the nose there. Not going to be able to make anything happen. Let's ride on board Kevin Gunther on that rear bumper cam and watch all this play out as they take a lap here. Back live here in Phoenix under the lights for the Downforce Racing Series season finale on turn 1. Ryan Patty leads 6 seconds over Vinny Masteas, who was able to get by Caden Henry Oaks, and then it's Kevin Gunther, and Oaks has fallen back to 4th. Keith Hanlon, John Zerke, Mike Whitaker, Thomas Taylor, Dave Hunt, your top 9. Then it's Bob Lacavera, hit over fist, and Rondell rounding out the rest of the field here. Patty has the car on cruise control. He came into tonight's race 19 points behind our leader for the championship, and he's going to need everything he could possibly get from a point standing. I think it's going to be a really tight finish here, but ultimately I think it's going to be Vinny Masteas' championship to lose, and he's only got 43 laps remaining here to make or to find out if he's going to be crowned the champion of the Downforce Racing Series Cup group here on turn 1. You're not really missing anything. Now keep in mind these drivers, this is going to make, as they come across the stripe, lap 91, that's 37 laps under a green flag conditions here, with the exception of Mike Whitaker. He stayed out. He's right now sitting in 7th, still on the lead lap, but I don't know for how long, as we see Bob Lacavera slow behind him. Not sure what happened there. No incident I show on track. But either way, going to have to battle here to stay in the position he is. He's going to have to come down pit road at least one more time, and I suspect any time here in the next couple laps. I also think it's going to be tight on the number of fuel for everybody else. So we'll see if anybody elects to save enough gas, or if they've got enough to get to the very end, or if we'll see everybody have to come down pit road. As there you have it. We're working lap 100 here tonight. That's going to mark 40 laps remaining for the Downforce Racing Series Cup action right here on turn 1. We're going to continue to step aside. We'll find all the battles we can on track. We'll come back to you with 20 to go. You're watching turn 1. Back live for you here on Turn 1 at Phoenix under the lights for the Downforce Racing Series Championship action. Right here on Turn 1, Ryan Patty continues to lead. Vinny Masteus now 5.8 seconds. Then Caden Henry Oaks is Keith handling your top four. Then quickly moving down into drivers not on the lead lap is Kevin Gunther sitting 5th. John Zerke, Mike Whitaker, Thomas Taylor. Dave Hunt just come down pit road. And then it's Bob Lacavera ahead of her fist. Rondell, your top 12 in the field here. And we see Ryan Patty continue to just land consistently lap over lap over lap. This is the longest run they've had on these tires, I believe, or closing in on it. This is going to be right about 45 laps. I think they got to lap 43 or so last time. We'll see how this all shakes out, though. And really what brought that in, that first caution out with Patty being involved, was maybe overstepping the car down on the apron a little bit off into turn 3 right here, down into that red O'Reilly paint. Getting that driver a little sideways. No harm, no foul, though. Was able to recover back up front here. And he's putting laps away every 27 seconds or so. Trying to bring home tonight's victory here at Phoenix with Masteus. He's sitting P2 right now, just running his own race, and that's exactly what he needed to do here. He recovered after a really bad pit call on 43, elected to stay out until the stage break, and it worked out for him. Was able to get back down pit road, get the fuel and tires he needed. And he knew coming into the night he had a 19-point lead, just needed to be consistent. And right now, that's what the 70 driver is doing here in the closing laps at Phoenix. As I mentioned, this is going to wrap up the race season coverage right here on Turn 1 for the DRS crew. Thursday night, we return to Ohio Sim Racing. Kicks it back off after a long summer break, and then we head to Sunday night, the Sunday Night Surge, to wrap up this week of race coverage right here on Turn 1. If you haven't already done so, do us a favor, get connected. Subscribe over on YouTube if you don't mind. We are well on our way there to 150 subs. Would love you to get that support over there. And also, would love some support over on Facebook. If you haven't had a chance, go ahead and like the page. Get connected. A lot of racing action coming up, including maybe an opportunity for a special event here coming into the fall. We'll have to take some consideration into that. Ron, we see you over there, bud. You raced at Lanier while listening and watching it, or after parking the car here, went and ran Lanier while listening and watching along. Ron, that takes a special kind of talent. Congratulations on being able to do that. And I don't know if I could get away with that. Speaking of getting away with it, interesting to see the 30 car there of Ryan Patty putting those left fronts down below that yellow line a little bit in 1 and 2. I'm surprised he's willing to take the risk here with 20 to go, but right now, no harm, no foul. He's got 6.7 seconds on back. Dave Hunt just drove around him, but Hunt on new tires. He came down pit road lap 110, so less than 10 laps ago. That just shows you the tire deltas here. Again, we talk about these fastest laps of the night. Patty's fastest was a 26.22. His last time by was a 27.90. So a significant difference there in lap time on old versus new tires. Potentially a little bit of fuel saving coming into this as well. I would have expected to see a couple of these drivers have to come down, but our top four is yet to pit and last down pit road on lap 61. Ron mentioned how he learned a little bit of something riding on board. Let's see if we can learn anything else riding on board with Ryan Patty here, as he looks to close out a dominant performance leading the most laps here at Phoenix. Continuing to put laps down. Ryan Patty 6.5 seconds out front of Vinny Masteas, and then it's Caden Henry Oaks in the third place spot. Keith Hanlon rather, sitting in fourth, and it's Kevin Gunther rounding out your top five. Then John Zerke, Mike Whitaker, Thomas Taylor in the top eight as we are within 13 to go here. And it looks like Patty and the rest of this top four are going to try to stay out, and no point in coming down on fuel here. Looks like they're going to have enough to make it all the way to the very end. That's going to be just over just about an 80-lap green flag run for these drivers if they were to ride it out all the way to the very end. And right now, 12 to go. It looks like they're going to. We were riding on board there with our leader, and one of the things I noted out of Ryan Patty in that 30 car was just how consistent he was. And small inputs, no drastic herky-jerky, on the throttle real smooth, off the throttle real smooth. Taking his time. So they say smooth is fast, and he's proven that that's the absolute truth. And it has shown that he means business when it's all said and done. We go and take a look here at the season standings really quick. I'm just curious because I know it has been a colossally successful season for Ryan Patty, and it has 14 starts right now. I show has had 4 poles. He's had 5 wins, 10 top 5s, 12 top 10s. So a strong season for Ryan Patty. And then it's Vinny Masteas just ahead of him pretty much in stats. Between those two, they have won a combined 11 races. Masteas has had 6 poles, 10 top 10s, 10 top 5s, 11 top 10s. So, you know, Masteas, he has certainly not been a stranger to victory lane. And again, between both those drivers, they have spoken for 10 of the poles, 11 of the race wins. It's been an impressive stat here for this group. And also want to mention Caden Henry Oaks, that driver right now running in third, sitting third in the points. Unfortunately, lost any chance he had to fight for the points victory or for the championship a couple weeks ago. But that driver has also had a decent season. He hasn't had a pole yet this season, but man, 2 wins on the night, or 2 wins on the season rather, is certainly something to be proud of considering the caliber we've seen of these top drivers. And right now, he is running exactly where he is in the points, sitting third here as he looks to put a bow on the season. This is side-by-side, not for position. That's Keith Hanlon. He's sitting in fourth right now, working underneath a lap-down car. I believe that is Thomas Taylor. It is. Was not for position. Hanlon able to squeeze by there. He's trying to keep that pace up. He's going to have to try to hold off Kevin Gunther, who actually just went a lap down himself by our leader. So no big worries there. Hanlon, as Zerke's now going to dive in. Wow, Hanlon must have had a really terrible exit off of 2. Zerke flew by like he was standing still. Here comes Thomas Taylor as well. Interesting. Not sure what happened. Meanwhile, this is a fight I don't know if Ryan Patty should have picked this late in the game. Gunther is not giving up that lead lap very easily. And now all of a sudden, Ryan Patty's found himself right in the tire tracks of the 31 here in the late going. Gunther able to drive around there and start to pull away just a little bit. Again, not for position. Gunther is sitting third. Or sitting fifth. Trying to avoid going a lap down, but even though Patty's got a 6-second lead, he don't want to see this really shake up the consistency more than anything. He needs to see some smooth a smooth execution here to wrap up tonight's race. Just 2 to go here. Patty's going to drive through 3 and 4. One final time. He's going to see the checkered flag on this race and on the season. One more lap to go for the Downforce Racing Series Cup Group. It's been a ton of fun watching these guys battle all season long. And ultimately, Ryan Patty is going to add another victory into the right spot there on the results. Ryan Patty is your winner here tonight at Phoenix. Vinny Masteas is going to finish P2, and I'm almost certain that locks him up for the championship. And then it's going to be Caden Henry Oaks in third, wrapping up here a fantastic season with the DRS crew. We're going to step aside, try to get some post-race coverage with some of these winners, or at least the top 3, as we celebrate the DRS crew. Wrapping up coverage here at Phoenix on Turn 1. We'll be right back. Another wild one in the books here as our race winner tries to find himself to victory lane and burned it down on the front stretch. He's going to take it on in and celebrate here in Phoenix. Your race winner there, and Ryan Patty. Vinny Masteas, I do believe, has confirmed your championship winner. That is Caden Henry Oaks, Keith Hanlon, and Kevin Gunther, your top 5. If we've got anybody watching the broadcast that could get somebody for the top 3 or Vinny down in here, that'd be great. There it is. Actually, we're going to have a chance to talk to Ryan Patty. Ryan, congratulations on that victory here tonight at Phoenix. That had to feel pretty good to end the season off at a high note.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, the competition here, I know we didn't have a huge field, but racing against Kevin and Vinny and Caden the last few weeks here, it's been a handful. So it definitely feels good to get the win, knowing that you're racing against some pretty high talent.
Right, coming into tonight, it looked like you had a 19-point deficit to make up on Vinny. That had to be on the forefront of your mind as you came in here and qualified on the pole, dominated a lot. How much did that little misstep around lap 43 or so catch you off guard? It looked like you maybe dipped the tires down a little too low in 3 and 4.
Yeah, I mean, I think with the 19-point gap, there was only so much that I could do. I think it was an eighth or better situation for Vinny, even if he didn't get any bonus points or stage points.
Right.
That spin for me actually ended up helping me in the Vinny situation. Inadvertently, because Vinny stayed out, he didn't get any stage points at the break, so it turned out to be a positive, even though I didn't mean it to be. Cost me a stage win, but yeah, I mean, I just trying to do everything I could tonight, keep the car clean, keep the car out front as best I could, and trying to save the right front tire because that was the key to the race tonight. Put a boatload of rear brake bias in the thing, and that definitely helped the car rotate, save the right front. But as you saw, clipped the apron there, and the car was on edge all night. So hung on to it, took care of it that last run, and took home a checkered. But I got to say congrats to Vinny. I mean, hats off to him. He ran a hell of a season, and he deserves the championship.
Ryan, we appreciate the time. Congratulations on what I would consider a very strong season here with the DRS crew, and hopefully we get to talk to you again sometime in the future.
I appreciate you. Thank you.
Ryan Patty, your winner here tonight at Phoenix. As we wrap up race coverage, let's talk to Vinny Masteus, who brought home the season championship. Vinny, congratulations. A hard-fought battle all the way through this entire process. Oh, I think we lost Vinny. Vinny, you with us there?
Yeah, I clicked the wrong thing.
No, that's okay, buddy. I was just going to say a long, hard-fought battle throughout this season with this DRS crew, a bunch of different talent throughout the field, but able to bring home the championship here tonight. It sounds like, for the most part, you just were looking to survive and stay out of trouble. Talk to me about that call to stay out on lap 43 and pick up that track position. Were you thinking maybe tires were not a factor? What was going through your mind there?
There was a little bit of a confusion for me on that. I don't really race that. I don't think I really raced that track at all. Kind of with the dog leg and that was all confusing to me. I thought we had to go around one more time, pit. So the plan was to pit with everybody, set that pace right there, but it didn't work out. I was totally confused on that. So as far as the strategy went, I had to make some adjustments and figure that out.
Well, Vinny, it certainly worked out for you in the grand scheme of things, bringing home the championship here tonight. Congratulations. I hope we get to talk to you again in either here or another league or wherever we find you. It was great to watch you put on a great show this season, and we'll talk to you soon.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Vinny Masteus, your champion for the Downforce Racing Series Cup action here on Turn 1. And then we'll quickly talk to Caden Henry Oaks, who finished third tonight. Caden, a respectable season for you, sir. I feel like I watched you learn quite a bit in this next-gen car with this group. Talk to me about your night and ultimately putting a good cap to the end of the season here.
Yeah, I didn't have the pace that I wanted at the start of the race, so I just kind of used every line I could to figure out where I felt like I was best, because I ended up running the top there the second half of the race, and just felt like I was learning the whole night. Not upset with the pace, but I think I probably could have ran better.
Caden, we know how sensitive aero-wise these cars can be. We've seen it even at some of the tracks you wouldn't expect it at all. How much was that a factor here tonight? We saw tire wear obviously be a pretty significant thing to get used to, especially across, say, a 40 to 60 lap green flag run, falling off about a second and a half. From your perspective, was aero a factor much, and did you learn anything you take from here on out?
I don't necessarily think that aero was a factor. More or less, just trying to, when you're behind somebody, just trying to make that pass is just difficult to pass overall tonight. I didn't feel a change in balance of the car when I was running behind Ryan or Vinny or really anybody. It's just very hard to set up a pass and just get it done, really.
Well, a consistent season here, able to pull off some decent finishes, a couple wins, bringing home third place here tonight in the race and in the championship. Caden, we appreciate the time and congratulations.
Thank you.
And Henry Oaks bringing home third place in both points in the race here tonight on Turn 1. We're going to wrap it up from there. I tell you what, Ryan Patty's going to continue to burn it down on the track. Congratulations to that driver, a successful season. A few points short of a champion right there. We're going to bring home the season finale. On behalf of the league admins, I'm Sean Fitz. I appreciate everybody for tuning in. It's been a great DRS crew to follow throughout the season. But we move on to Thursday night right here on Turn 1, back with OSR, and it's going to be one heck of a show. Again, on behalf of the league admins, thanks for being here. We'll catch you Thursday night for more racing action. Good night, everybody. Bye-bye.